Let's welcome Susanne Fromm from CoinIX, speaking about investing in the full spectrum of blockchain innovation. Stage is yours, Susanne. Have fun.
Thank you, Marcel. Hello, everyone. Great to be here at this conference. And as an investor, I'm particularly proud to see so many of our portfolio companies here. But more on that later. As Adrian pointed out, blockchain is driving the third wave of the internet. And here you can see all the waves illustrated. I used to work a lot on wave 2, the second wave of the internet, which was mainly driven by the smartphone, by social and cloud technology, and made the internet much more interactive, but also super centralized. And so tech companies grew into monopolistic platforms monetizing our data, and it quite significantly changed our economic landscape. As today, most of the most valuable companies in the world are all internet giants. I spent about 10 years working in Web 2, rolling out apps, investing, and also partnering with the internet giants, and felt their insane market power. And having seen the tremendous change that the second wave of the internet caused in the traditional economy, and also the things that went into the wrong direction, like the hyper-centralization, Web 3 completely stunned me. Because it has the potential to remedy a lot of things that went into the wrong direction in Web 2 due to its ability to democratize and also to break up middlemen monopolies. And most internet giants today are middlemen monopolies. Here's an attempt to quantify and to compare the waves of the internet. So here Web 2, which mainly transformed consumer markets. The potential that was realized is estimated here at around 2 trillion US dollars. And now in Web 3, blockchain is transforming mainly, or is starting to transform financial markets. And the potential here is estimated at 27 trillion US dollars. So this makes Web 3 more than 10 times bigger than Web 2. And we at CoinIX, we strongly believe that this huge potential will unfold over the next 10 to 15 years, and that's why we completely focus on this market. Who is CoinIX? We are an investment company focusing on blockchain, and we invest in the full spectrum of blockchain innovation and make it investable for retail investors, but also for professional investors via our shares listed at the Düsseldorf Stock Exchange. And our setups makes us unconstrained, so we can flexibly react to the super fast changing crypto market. We invest in liquid crypto assets, but mainly in early token projects and in equity of blockchain startups. And you can see on the bottom of the slides, we are quite a diverse team. That's the CoinIX team. Our age range actually spans more than 30 years. And while we all have a big passion for crypto and blockchain, we have quite diverse backgrounds in the traditional economy, but also in crypto, which allows us to diversify quite broadly when it comes to investment areas. And here's the CoinIX portfolio. And you can see we, in fact, cover like a broad spectrum of blockchain innovation. We have made more than 40 investments so far. So let's dive into these different areas of blockchain innovation. So let's start on the left-hand side with the traditional business world, which of course includes traditional financial markets, but also traditional industries. And here also for blockchain innovation, still quite, the old rules apply, if you will. And I'm using this famous picture to illustrate the traditional business world. You might know it. It was taken at the CEO lunch at the Munich Securities Conference. And I think it speaks for itself. And now on the right-hand side, completely new areas developed based on blockchain technology. And of course, with completely different culture and completely different business standards. And someone made a meme out of this famous picture, and I think it characterizes crypto culture quite well. So you see the difference. So quite distinct areas of blockchain innovation. And within those areas, there are some use cases that have developed and gained a lot of traction, and they are referred to as blockchain killer apps. When CoinIX was founded in 2017, there was actually just only one real blockchain killer app, and that was trading digital assets or cryptocurrencies. And then in summer 2020, DeFi started to get traction, grew into a market of more than 200 billion US dollars within a year. And now, non-fungible tokens also are starting to get traction and are a big candidate for another killer application, and the same for the metaverse. But here we are just at the very, very beginning. I'm talking about the open metaverse, of course. And there is another big candidate for a killer application, but which we also heard in some of the talks before, has not quite taken off yet, but it's starting to. And this is what we at CoinIX also think is particularly interesting, and that is blockchain-based automation in the traditional business world. But you can see that most of the use cases of the blockchain killer apps have emerged within crypto, completely isolated from the outside world. But this is changing. The isolation is waning. And we observe more and more business models where the traditional business world and the crypto world meet. And I brought some examples from our CoinIX portfolio to illustrate this. So I'm going to talk about XVA blockchain, about crypto index series, Florence Finance, and BMAP. And let's start with XVA blockchain. That's a prime example for blockchain-based automation in the traditional financial services industry. And while, of course, a lot of customer front ends have long been digitalized in financial services, it's a completely different story for back-end processes. But now this is changing because blockchain, and of course particularly smart contracts, enable now to automate also complex processes that are multi-party. And this is really triggering the next level of digitalization in this area, and huge efficiency gains are looming there. So quite an attractive area for XVA blockchain, but not only that, they're also focusing on the derivatives market, which is a whopping 7 times larger than global GDP. Okay, so what is XVA blockchain? You can think of it as a DeFi clearinghouse based on smart contracts. And it enables banks, for instance, to automate derivatives processes, for instance, the interbank settlement of interest rate swaps. And it makes those processes, of course, faster, safer, more compliant, and way cheaper. So for example, when it comes to capital charges for banks, cost savings of 40% and more are possible, which is quite impressive compared to traditional OTC markets. And if you'd like to learn more about XVA blockchain, the team is here on site. I have here Fred sitting. If you want to wave, if you want to engage with him, he's present here. Next example is XVA blockchain. It's a crypto index series. And crypto index series is a good example for another big use case in traditional finance, which is based on blockchain, and which is the adoption of cryptocurrencies. And this is, of course, also driven a lot by the customers of traditional finance companies, as they demand increasingly this access. So for example, high net worth individuals today mostly already own digital assets or are planning to do so in very shortly. And so asset managers and wealth managers, of course, have to accommodate this. But increasingly, also, professional investors themselves are attracted, of course, by the crypto returns. And there is a problem, though. It's not so easy to include digital assets in a traditional portfolio. And the reason is, for instance, there are no common standards. So there is varying symbology across exchanges, for example. Then, of course, there is 24/7 trading. Then also, it's not easy to evaluate like a crypto portfolio in different fiat currencies. And also, there is quite a lot of data latency that also can pose a problem sometimes. And what CryptoINDEX series does is that they provide tools and APIs for data, for trading, and also for portfolio analytics. And these are institutional grade and also offer extremely low latency. And XVA data, CryptoINDEX series data is so good that they are together with CryptoCompare, one of only 2 aggregated crypto data providers for the business data market leader, Refinitiv, formerly known as Thomson Reuters. So quite exciting. And also Götze Williams, the CEO, you can see here on the photo. Götze, are you here? Yeah, back there. Is here also during all 3 days if you'd like to talk to her. And next example is a very recent addition to our CoinIX portfolio. It's Florence Finance. We actually just announced it today. Florence Finance is also building a very needed bridge, this time between decentralized finance and the traditional industries. There is a gigantic credit gap for small and medium businesses, which is amounting in Europe alone to $1 trillion US. And so SMEs are underbanked by traditional financial services, and there are now increasingly fintech companies that are offering SME lending platforms, but they also need liquidity. And then on the other hand, in decentralized finance, there is an increasing need for crypto uncorrelated real-world yield opportunities. And what Florence Finance does is that they are bridging the gap here. And so they're bringing DeFi liquidity, for instance, in stablecoins, in the form of fiat to those SME lending platform fintechs, and therefore to the SMB sector. And so they are solving like a big problem in these both worlds. And last but not least, BMAP. BMAP is building a bridge for traditional companies to enter NFT and metaverse opportunities. And what's the metaverse anyway? It's an, if you will, an interaction layer of the internet that enables more real digital brand experiences, among other things. And so what BMAP does, they created Your Open Metaverse, which is a ecosystem of different metaverses, and it enables companies to build their own virtual world in there. It's very photorealistic. They can host their own events and live performances, and also they can mint 3D assets as NFTs and distribute them there. And so BMAP has already won reputable brands as customers and as partners, for instance, TED or GlaxoSmithKline. And so we can see on this example, for example, that blockchain innovation also already is spanning way beyond financial markets and in fact adding financial layers in all kinds of areas. Yeah, so this is only one more clue of many that this current huge wave of disruption of Web3 that is just starting now is actually going to be way, way bigger than Web2. So if you think about that, just imagine the true extent of the potential, which is pretty hard to grasp, I think. But what isn't hard to grasp are our portfolio companies, which are right here at this conference. And so we have, apart from XVA and CryptoIndex series, we also have Kadea here. Kadea has a similar business model to XVA, but focusing on securitization processes. Then we have Blocksmooth, which is a new mobility platform. And then we have crypto tech specialist Blockpit. They all have speaking slots at this conference. So if you want to engage with one of these, please approach them directly or approach me, and I'm happy to do an intro. And if you'd like to learn more about CoinIX, you can scan this QR code, and there's a collection of information about us, articles on and by us, and also this presentation you can find where the QR code is. And if you're here, please come and find us in the exhibition hall at the CoinIX booth. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to engage.